You can't put a civilization just anywhere. There are unlivable landscapes that are actually the most beautiful places on the planet, but they are too harsh. The paradox is in this classical kingdoms lesson. In these mountains, deserts, frozen tundra, and barren basins, civilizations cannot thrive. But they teach us important lessons, teaching us with their extreme beauty. So we will journey to all 7 continents with amazing footage. Wait until you see the deadliest place and how it was named. But when I first visited there, I was blown away. I'm Mr. Hall, and this is Ancient History. Welcome to Classical Kingdoms, where timeless stories reveal truth and wisdom for your journey. And this journey takes us to all 7 continents for a geography skill builder. But this one is special. We take the classical approach to learn not only where civilizations thrive, like Mesopotamia, but also the Arabian desert that bulges in to form that Fertile Crescent shape. And we need to fully understand. So we pursue the truth in our classical education and see the good or the lack of good in these deserts to build civilizations there, but we appreciate the beauty of it. And so this lesson, we have Mozart. Symphony number 38 is our guide. This is lesson number 4 in your ancient history course. We're stepping into the skill builder of extreme places on Earth. To learn about them, to ask the big questions, discover how do they shape our history, and how it still shapes your journey. So in this lesson, let's visit all 7 continents so that you can learn all 7 continents. Get out your maps. Number 2, let's learn the terms of these geographic features, the extreme harsh places and features all over the planet. And number 3, we pursue the truth to measure the good or the lack of good and what human settlements actually need. But we will be experiencing the beauty. And we end at the place that I consider to be the most beautiful, but deadly. So through the course of this episode, we'll make you an expert geographer, a philosopher, a musician with Mozart, and you'll have the essentials to understand the foundations of the classical world. Our special guide, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. It's Symphony number 38. It's a classical symphony, and it's a journey from mountains to the Mojave with Mozart. I'm watching this with you for the first time. This Black Desert Egypt in Africa. We planned this together, but our creative director has worked really hard to piece together some of the most beautiful clips we could find to play through the entire Mozart Symphony number 38. The music you're hearing is the introduction to the symphony. Now, this is an early classical piece. Mozart is from the classical period of music, right? You say classical music, but this is actually the classical period of the classical music and it's called Adagio because it's this slow introduction. And that was popular with some of the symphonies like that, but we'll enjoy the music. But Sahara Desert, we are also enjoying the beauty of the flaming effect of these sand dunes. So if we get to a red sand dune, one of them is 1,000 feet tall, big red. I don't know if we're going to get to see that one in the Sahara. But 1,000 feet is a tall sand dune. And anytime you see orange and red in the desert, it's because there's enough iron in the sand to rust. And the older it is, the more red it is. So as we enjoy these beautiful places, it's also a lesson about civilizations. We know that the Sahara, the Egypt part of the Sahara, Egypt has a lot of its own custom smaller deserts named like that Black Desert, but when we look at Egypt, the whole thing is a desert except for one stripe called the Nile River. That's stunning. That's a contrasting blue sky and those dark, kind of reddish. So people from Egypt would have known, like if you go too far away from the Nile River, you're into some of these things. I think the Black Sands, I did look at a map when we were planning this lesson, but we want you to look at the map. Look at where some of these exact locations are in these deserts as you learn your 7 continents, learning Africa. And you are learning a little bit of Mozart because the adagio is slow and it's just an introduction. What is this guy? It's very, very regal, triumphant. This guy walking. So Mozart changed the music to allegro, which is cheerful. I think it's Italian for cheerful. And cheerful. Like, do you feel like these extreme desert conditions are cheerful? They are beautiful. Like, I assume that guy wasn't too far from his tour bus. There he is. And I don't see any water. Makes me thirsty. Oh, the Namibian desert. Wait, let me... So there's some water. Oasis would be an important word to know. Like, there are pockets of water. So the Namibian desert is where that Big Daddy red 1,000-foot sand dune is. I don't know if we have that. So look that up. The sun is going down in the Namibian desert. The Namib. Oh, okay. Second continent. If you've got your maps, you know we're all the way at the South Pole. Antarctica. So these extreme places, so the difference between those hot deserts and these cold places may just be temperature. Antarctica has one of the largest. It's called, the McMurdo Dry Valley is completely dry, no ice. So that's obviously not what penguins. It's not dry there. They like fish, but okay, well, there are super dry areas in Antarctica. The McMurdo Dry Valley has a lot of scientific interest, being so cold and so extreme. Of course, penguins, we all love penguins. And so these extreme places don't support life. They don't support civilizations. But there are always little exceptions. There's kind of ways around it. But we're taking this geography skill builder to appreciate the beauty, because it's easy to do. These are now those guys jumping in the water. These are places that you can tour. You can visit these places. Like these penguins jumping out of the water. It's stunning to see, but it's kind of a look, don't touch type of, like, you really can't sustain life. Civilizations are not going to thrive unless you're a penguin. You eat fish. Okay, so Mozart's wrapping up his motif, the set of notes, and then he kind of manipulates it. He exposes it, the exposition of his motif. You hear that? And then the timpani. It sounds like it resolves itself. And then he's doing it again. And so listen for what the different variation is. And I thought classical would go well with a geography lesson because it's kind of like we're looking at, ice formations, rock formations. It's the same motif, but it's always changed and different and structured. Like at this glacier. I assume this is a glacier. But that is stunning and probably not safe to stand next to. So Mozart Symphony number 38 is not written for extreme places around the world. I thought it was a good match, and but the Symphony 38 is D major, and it was called Prague, but they're not sure if he actually played the symphony first in Prague. Mozart was a very prolific composer. At 38 symphonies, not a lot of people do that. Haydn had more. I think he had 41 total. Okay, so we're looking for, back to Antarctica, we are looking for the big ice dome, or where they would take cores. There's a lot of scientific interest here, and they take ice cores. And it's the world's largest dome of ice that they can drill down into and take samples to learn about the history and the biology of the life that has been there, and maybe microscopic life, because we know there are not civilizations. Oh, temperature. Coldest place on the planet, 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit, was recorded once. 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit is the world's record, recorded in 1983. There is a science station here that typically goes down below 65, 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, the East Antarctic Plateau, that's where we started. The temperatures were even lower there. 2010, they recorded a negative 136. Negative 136 degrees. Oh, okay, and here's East Antarctic Plateau still. So this is cold. So extreme cold. There may be some fish for you to catch, but it will be hard to have a civilization here. Oh, but we can have a science station. And we're off to Asia. How many times is Mozart going to do the same type of thing with his motif? I think he's finally started to develop the motif differently now. But we're in Asia. We're in the Gobi Deserts, so probably Mongolia. In history, we'll meet Genghis Khan at some points. He was a world conqueror, an Asian conqueror. But civilizations do not get established because of their large deserts, the Gobi Desert. So even though he conquered a very massive map filled with space, it's very much deserted, but it's beautiful. So in the Gobi Desert, we are looking for some more sand dunes, some singing sand dunes, and I think we're looking for the fire sand dunes. Yeah, there it is. The flaming sand dunes. The Flaming Cliffs. The Flaming Cliffs. They have a park there in Mongolia, the Flaming Cliffs. And there's also the Singing Sands. These are the largest sand dunes in Mongolia. And if you've visited places like this, if you've been on some of the sand, it is very, very fine. It's really clean. Like, you don't get dirty. It's like slick because it's so old, and it's an area, there's no organic material, except for I say that, and now there's camels. There's a little bit of organic, little bit of green plants here. So Gobi Desert, these camels, what are they doing? Oh wow, that is flat. That is barren. If you visited something like this, you could add that to the chat about where you've been and if you've crunched your feet on this type of surface. It's not what we're used to. Not the sand dunes, but that other surface where it's kind of a mix of rocks and pebbles and sand. Like it's not dirt. It's not like sustainable. It's not life sustaining. If you're walking on the sand, it's like something totally different. It's like you're going to slip. It's like hard work. It's really, really hard. Sand gets everywhere. That's stunning shot. Gobi Desert. Oh, they found dinosaur eggs here. I mean, not right here, but some velociraptor eggs. I think they were the first ones ever discovered. And the Protoceratops. Some mineral deposits there in the Gobi. We're in Asia. And the movement ended. Yeah, that was the end of the Allegro movement. And now we're in Acid Lake. But this is the Andante movement. Andante is Italian for walking. Allegro was Italian for cheerful, and now we're walking. So at a walking pace, the music was going to take us. Why do we have an acid lake? Any of these basins, these lakes, these basins, they collect the minerals. And the minerals stay. The water goes away. And it just, over time, it gets so much more concentrated. So I don't know the geology exactly when the acid, if you've been to Yellowstone, I think they have both. It really just depends on the minerals that are close by. But these basins collect a lot of minerals. So that is coming up soon in my favorite section that we'll talk about in a minute. But the Pamir Mountains. So I have some appreciation just for the beauty of the Pamir Alpine Desert and Tundra. So it's a desert because we're not going to get the moisture. The mountain ranges form a rain shadow and really prevent the moisture to make it to the next mountain range, like one after the other, the rain shadow. So this place is so barren and looks like a different planet. Tundra means it's frozen. Oh, this is what I was going to say. It's like average 13,000 feet elevation, which the Rocky Mountains, like the tallest peaks, just peak at 13,000. You know, most of those mountain towns, ski towns are like 8,000 feet. You can live there, but I've been to Leadville in Colorado, and that's like 10,500. That town, that's a mining town. They got minerals, you know. People are looking for minerals in the mountains unless it's just too extreme. And you can get the minerals out of these places, but you can't form a civilization. Even when there's fresh water like this, you're above the tree line. Above the tree line, no vegetation, no way to really grow your food. Tajikistan, did I say that? We're in Tajikistan or maybe even Afghanistan. This mountain range is pretty extreme. Uninhabitable landscape. Off to Australia. Continent number 4 is Australia. I do want you to learn your continents. The Great Victoria Desert is a UNESCO World Biosphere Preserve. Biosphere Preserve. It just serves as a function like it's a museum for some of the extreme life that can survive here. These places are void of life except for just a few examples. And the one that I visited, the one where we're going to end on, I think we're ending on it, is the one that I was amazed at what life was possible there. Oh, and these grasses, I forget the name of these grasses in the Simpson Desert. But they do think like hunters and gatherers could make a go at this. In ancient time, they had some evidence of hunter-gatherer tribes in the Simpson Desert, or the original people in Australia could find a way to get along, but you just can't survive here. Okay, next continent is Europe, which is what we study pretty much the whole course of classical kingdoms. The music goes really well here to a scene like this, but we're way north in Scandinavia to look at this European tundra. Way north in Norway, and look at a map in Norway. There's strings of islands, the archipelago, strings of islands that are just jutting out into the cold. And so tundra is the cold, the permafrost, the land that is just too cold and barren to support life. But people take cruises all over here, and polar bears like it. Polar bears like it. So the tundra would have permafrost being permanently frozen soil. So roots are not going to be able to grow. Moss or certain types of vegetation sitting on top. But we've moved away from Norway, where they have a lot of national parks and nature preserves. And this is Iceland. So if we see volcanic, if we see anything black, the fire and ice, and this is Europe's largest glacier. This ice cap. Oh, because that glacier's moving. And this is a glacier too, on this ice cap. This is part of that glacier that's moving, trying to carve out another valley between these mountains. Oh, okay. Heading to South America now. Continent number 6. The Atacama Desert. This is the driest place that's not frozen. It's like Antarctica. I think that's a pretty large frozen and dry place, but not this. Sorry, you got water here. But in the Atacama Desert, we're going to see a place that has not had rainfall for hundreds of years. Like, we're probably getting closer. Do you notice how there's no trees? And like here, this is it. So Valley of the Moon, Valle de la Luna. This looks like the moon. It looks like a planet. And the scientists who are learning ways to land on Mars, they come here to the Valley of the Moon, the Atacama Desert, because it hasn't had rainfall for hundreds of years. It's extremely dry. And look at the type of terrain. Look at the lack of tourists, by the way. Also, because I was asking you if you've walked on this type of surface. It is really weird. The way it feels different. And it's like you're on a different planet, almost. So, we're getting close to the one that I've been to, and I'll probably talk more about that But for scientists to use these different places, Antarctica is heavily studied, and then here, and look at that. And so because they haven't had any water, that's all erosion just from wind. So it just makes it so beautiful, and some stunning formations. Atacama in the Valley of the Moon. Hundreds of years since any rain has fallen there, if not more. It's a protected nature sanctuary since 1982. It's a paradox of beauty and desolation because it's a lunar-like landscape. In the dry lakes and features that they have, it's never going to sustain a city. We're never going to see civilizations popping up here. Oh, and these geysers are the highest geysers in the world, I believe. This geyser field, highest altitude geyser field. 4,300 meters, so well over 13,000 feet above sea level. And these geysers are shooting up mineral water. Oh, there's microbiology here. So they do see tiny little critters under a microscope. And scientists are saying this is maybe an example of what life could be like on Mars. The movement is ending. Here we go. We're in the third movement, the final movement. It's called Presto. Presto. We're in my favorite. Presto is Italian for suddenly. Suddenly. I'll tell you, when I visited here, it wasn't sudden, but you did have this feeling you're going down. Death Valley is the lowest place in North America. And we're looking at minerals that have collected in a basin with these colors. So if it's red, I think that it's maybe got iron in it, but you guys tell me, because I am not an expert at all these different colors. But when I walked out into this area, so if Badwater Basin is a place you've heard of or maybe been to, this is going to hit 282. Yeah, like this is like close to the parking lot. 282 feet below sea level. And you have to walk really far out into it to get to these little like crystal structure formations that are cool because people walk on them. So you got to go way out. And I was there at New Year's in the middle of the winter, so it was not hot. It was beautiful. And there was a musical group that was filming a music video they were performing out there. So that's kind of a fun, I see them on YouTube, and that's kind of a fun memory of going there. But we were all just blown away by the beauty here. Unfortunately, it wasn't hot because this is the hottest place on the planet. 134 degrees. It's the hottest temperature ever recorded. 1913 at Furnace Creek, which is close to where we're looking here. Just one of the towns, but no civilization here. They've had people come through. You know, the name Death Valley came from some of the first pioneers coming through on their way to the gold rush, because this is California. Cut through Nevada, you have to get past the Grand Canyon. You're cutting through to get down to the gold rush of California. But the party that was making it through, they got stuck here in the wintertime. And, you know, one of their party died, and there's no supplies, there's no water, there's no way to restock anything here. And this is the Devil's Golf Course, by the way. The Devil's Golf Course. These are like crusty, sharp mineral formations. If you trip or hit one, it's just going to cut you up, your leg. It's really wild, the Devil's Golf Course. But anyway, so this party finally made it all the way to the end, having lost one of theirs and barely make it through themselves. He just looked back and said, "Goodbye, Death Valley." And the name stuck. 1850, they've been calling it Death Valley. See, Mozart is developing this motif again. There's a little bit of tension as he's rising up here, and we're looking at Death Valley. We're looking at minerals. So salt, lots of salt taken out of here. And so we tasted it like it is salty, but there's other minerals with it too. And Death Valley is famous for the 20 Mule Team Borax Company. So do you have borax at your house? It's laundry detergent, pretty much. Yeah, I forgot I have a prop. Now, they found a lot of other chemicals that you can use besides naturally occurring borax to put in products like Tide. But check your cabinet, check the store, because borax was a big business here. And they would use 18 mules and 2 horses to drag it out of here, because they can work. Okay, the sand dunes are further to the north, and then Badwater Basin. Badwater Basin's the famous low spot that's so cool. I've got a cool souvenir to show you. But these sand dunes, you can get to them, you can drive Jeeps on them, you can climb them. Like I said earlier, it's slippery and not dirty sand, and it's easy to kind of sink. Oh, the Panamint Mountains. Okay, so now we're looking at the Panamint Mountains, and this is the rain shadow. We had the rain shadow on the Atacama. I think I forgot to say that. But these mountain ranges, there's multiple parallel ranges that trap moisture. Every time the clouds cool off and go up and it rains in the mountains, by the time you do that 3 or 4 times, there's nothing left. And that's why it's so dry. Here's the racetrack. Obviously cracked, dry basin. Again, this whole place is just like big flat. And those rocks actually move, by the way. And here's Star Wars. They filmed Star Wars here. This is like where the Jawa capture R2-D2. So there are a lot of scenes from Star Wars that were filmed right here at Death Valley. You can spot them. You can see them. There's a lookout point. Oh, there it is. I think this is it. But Dante's View is a lookout point, and we went there to look at stars, but that's where they overlooked Mos Eisley. But it's because it's like a different planet. These extreme places, it's like you're not on Earth anymore, because there's no organic kind of vegetation sustaining anything. It's a crunchy, dry feel and sound when you're walking around. And that's why filmmakers like George Lucas, or scientists like the Mars people, they see there's a different value, and we see the beauty, right? We're looking at the Panamint Mountain Range. It must be like late spring because there's some snow on top, but that snow is not going to help anybody survive here. So this water just sits in the bottom. Oh, and there are flower stems there, but they only bloom every 10 years. You have to have the perfect conditions. So you'd see, like, there's no life, no vegetation, except for, and I think we're seeing them there, these little flower stems. So that's something I really would like to be there for when it all blooms. But you can get an idea now. That's not ice. That's salt and mineral and highly concentrated water with all these minerals in it. And it is beautiful. All right, so I did get my souvenir, Death Valley artwork. Look up this artist because he's got one for every national park, and one of the most visited national parks. It struck me with the beauty. I was just blown away. I was really surprised. Death Valley is quite beautiful. And being the most visited, it's safe, but they warn you. And I would warn you, like, go in the wintertime. I went at New Year, so that was really special. But the story of the people that went through there does kind of remind you, like, you can look, but don't touch. They tried to make it through. And later they took the minerals out, the 20 mule team that brought the borax out. And that's a great story of American resilience and ingenuity. But ultimately, this place can't survive. I mean, the people can't build civilizations. And that's what we were learning. We learned our 7 continents. We learned these extreme places around the world are quite beautiful. But our ancestors could not survive there, and you can't build civilizations there. So what are you going to carry forward, thinking about the resilience and the ingenuity of our ancestors of the past? And they were smart enough not to try to build civilizations in these places that we're not looking at this year. We study civilizations in this class, but this was a good geography skill builder. Thank you for taking the time to learn something that really matters in history and geography. And that includes your story and your appreciation for beauty, appreciation for Mozart, Mojave, the mountains, and what are you going to take away with this? Hopefully, there'll be a little classical truth and beauty for your journey. Because kingdoms rise and fall, power fades, but virtue endures.